open inventory of positions, but don't mix it. Okay, and the reason we go with order flow is because order flow data is instant. It gives you demand and supply in the next tick. The open interest data is 3 minutes delayed, and that 3 minute is got a lot of pressure added to it, right? In 3 minutes an option price can move from 20 to 60, and you will not even know why it happened, right? If you're tracking open interest, it will just randomly give you a snapshot after the next third minute. But in order flow you can see it as it happens, right? So yeah, you are an open interest trader, fine, I get it, but always give priority to order flow data. So the question is, what is the difference between caught high and caught low? A lot of people ask me, why do you look at an order flow chart? Right? What do you gain out of looking at an order flow chart? And there are actually three big reasons why we look at an order flow chart. And this caught is not the only aspect of our order flow. There are about three major reasons why we look at the order flow chart, and the most important reason is to find out how the big money is positioned in the market. So when I'm looking at an order flow chart, I am not interested in what the trader who is trading 2 lots at a time or 4 lots at a time is doing. There could be about thousands of these kind of traders, and when they come together, yes, a move would happen, but by themselves, they cannot move a market, right? But when a LLT or a large lot trader comes along, and he's putting about 2,000 lots at work at one time, do you agree with me that a 2,000 lot trader is to be viewed a bit differently from a 2 lot trader? The person who is putting 2,000 lots at work in the market at one time is got a plan, he's got strategy, and he's got capital to back him up, right? And because of that strategy, because of that plan, he takes a position, and he's got a small thing, which we call an edge, EDGE. And this edge is what is the defining moment, for a move to come in the market. A lot of people ask me, why do you look at an order flow chart? Right? What do you gain out of looking at an order flow chart? And there are actually three big reasons why we look at an order flow chart. And this caught is not the only aspect of our order flow. There are about three major reasons why we look at the order flow chart, and the most important reason is to find out how the big money is positioned in the market. So when I'm looking at an order flow chart, I am not interested in what the trader who is trading 2 lots at a time or 4 lots at a time is doing. There could be about thousands of these kind of traders, and when they come together, yes, a move would happen, but by themselves, they cannot move a market, right? But when a LLT or a large lot trader comes along, and he's putting about 2,000 lots at work at one time, do you agree with me that a 2,000 lot trader is to be viewed a bit differently from a 2 lot trader? The person who is putting 2,000 lots at work in the market at one time is got a plan, he's got strategy, and he's got capital to back him up, right? And because of that strategy, because of that plan, he takes a position, and he's got a small thing, which we call an edge, EDGE. And this edge is what is the defining moment for a move to come in the market.
So why does that happen? That is happening because we have limit orders and we have market orders. Limit orders are orders which are put in the system, and people have just selected the level they want to enter, and they put their order there and they sit back. Market orders are orders which are being executed in live market because something is changed in the market. So everyone wants to get into the market as early as possible. So they are trying to get into the market at whatever price they can get into. So those are the market orders. Obviously, when you have lot of market orders happening, the auction would move faster and the volumes also would be on the higher side.
The market order helps move price faster. Now, why do I say that? Okay, because the market order adds momentum to the existing demand and supply already there. It helps move price further up away. And generally speaking, okay, when we talk in terms of market orders, we get to know, okay, that these traders who put markets are generally, and I'm saying generally speaking over here, are generally the kind of people who know what they are doing. They are not, okay, people randomly trading, and they are armed with a certain set of information which tells them that, okay, I want to get into this market now and I want to get into this market quickly. And because of that, okay, we say that price moves faster when there is a market order. Now, in an order flow chart, you really do not need to get into the details of why it is a limit order or why it is a market order.
Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. A quick sound check. Am I audible? Great. So we are having a big move happening in the market, and let us discuss where the move started and how we can identify them using market profile and order flow. So we have the weekly and the monthly report up on the website. So we will not be doing that usual Monday review what we have. Rather than that, we will focus on what is happening currently in the market and from where this move started and where we got the cues that this new imbalance, or what we call in market profile terms the IPM, initial price movement, has started. So let's have a review of what happened in Nifty spot first, and then we'll move on to Bank Nifty, and then we will have a look at the order flow of both futures. So in market profile, what we look for on the charts is whether we are forming a balance or whether we are forming an imbalance. So how do we know that? Whatever time frame we watch the market profile chart in, we look at how the value is being formed, whether it's a daily chart, a weekly chart, or a monthly chart. So for example, last month, the month of July, we started with an initiative buying tail in Nifty spot. So I'll just briefly show that monthly chart. So what we did was, this is the July monthly profile chart, and we had this A period buying tail. Why is it initiative? Because it has come at the opening of that particular time frame. So in this case, this is the monthly chart. So the month began with a buy side tail. So which is why we call it initiative, and which is the reason we were bullish in Nifty and we are looking for upside, and it did not disappoint us. It made good up move in the month of July, and we did get a dip cause of the budget, but then we went on to close at the highs. So this is how we look for initiative move in market profile on all time frames. So when we are watching the daily time frame, so especially the start of any time frame is important, whether it is a daily time frame, a weekly time frame, or a monthly time frame. So that gives more important cues. And if the start of a day is with an initiative buy tail or a sell tail, we will have that bias for the rest of the day. So similarly, if the start of a week is with a initiative buying tail or a selling tail, we will want to keep that bias for the rest of the week. So that is the reason why we give lot of importance to Mondays, the calendar week when it starts the Nifty spot, and also on Fridays in futures of Nifty, because that is when the new settlement gets started. So if we talk about the higher time frame, the bigger time frame we watch is the monthly, and the monthly calendar start is very important. Same thing in the futures, when we start on a new Friday in case of Nifty futures, it is an important start. So in Nifty futures, I'll come to the profile chart in a bit. The August Nifty futures started with a trend day up, so that was what gave us that momentum to the upside. The rollover point for August this in Nifty futures was 24,460, and right from there we got a drive up on Friday, the first day of the August series, and we went on to make a 500-point move higher, and then we went on to make those new all-time highs at 25,132 before we saw the POC shift to 24,996, and then we could make out that the longs who had entered at the start of the series had booked out, and now we are getting a fresh imbalance. One imbalance that was done, one IPM was done, and now there was a start of the second IPM. So here on your screen, we have the Nifty spot chart. And as I was telling, the monthly chart is very important. So what happened when we started this month? This is the 1st of August. And what we did before 1st of August is formed a nice 3-day balance into the close of July. So we were looking bullish because we were forming higher value, and we had these unsecured highs at 24,999. So that was one important round number which the market was stalling at. So it was just a matter of time, it would have been taken out. But what happened when was taken out is we got one initiative selling tail. This is on the 1st of August. So when we are starting a fresh new month with an initiative selling tail, and we are not even gone to the order flow so far, this itself is telling us that there is no demand at this new highs. And then when we went on to retain this A period singles, what we call the initiative selling tail, and this has come on the monthly time frame, which is the strongest of all. So it has a capacity of giving you the biggest momentum in that direction. So this itself was a very clear sign that we cannot remain bullish for August unless this A period selling tail is taken out. Just like how we started July with an initiative buying tail and we were bullish, we were kind of bearish when this first day's profile was formed. And because we made a lookup about this balance and failed to get demand, it was very clear that we will test the lower end of this composite. So this is what we did the next day. On Friday, we opened with a huge gap down and we remained below this composite value area low. So this was telling us that the PLR, the path of least resistance, was still to the downside. And here again, we have left an A period selling tail. So this is how you get more confirmation that this IPM has got more legs. The initial price movement which has started on the 1st of August is again being uh, compounded with another initiative selling tail. So this is how we identify these clues from the market profile chart and look at order flow if it is in sync with the information we are getting from market profile. And this is what happened on Friday. We closed around the lows, and it was very clear that the selling tail has been retained. So that means the sellers are in control, and we are looking for more downside. And it did, although we could not have expected a gap of such proportion. What happened today was we opened with a huge gap down, and because of that gap down, what we see here is similar highs, but this actually are not similar highs because the Nifty spot close was at 24,717 and we opened today at 24,350. So we already have a 350 point plus uh, invisible A period selling tail in today's profile, and that is the reason we have gone on to make this big move lower. And today's was a B shape kind of a profile. It's a long liquidation profile, and we saw some good selling which came in Nifty futures. So this is how we identify market profile and look at new IPNs being formed, and order flow will help us to confirm that bias is right. So I'll now move on to the order flow chart of Nifty futures, and we will the 1st of August, because that is where we have started. Or before I go to the 1st of August, I will also show you the order flow of the day where we started the August series in Nifty futures, and you can see how the order flow was showing us bullish bias on that day. 26th of July is when we started this new series, and you can see here how in order flow we have got this A period green bar up with the POC and VWAP in the middle, and then we have continued this upside with an IB bar on 30 minutes. And here we can see even the cot is turning green, and how we went on to form a trend day up. We kept on making higher multiple IBs. So this was a start of a new IPM when we started the series. So this also was a move which came on the first day. This was on Nifty futures on 26th of July, which was the first day of the new series. So and once we got that initiative move in the morning, we knew that this is going to go to the higher zones. So that is what happened. After that, IS on 29th, some selling did come in, which I showed you on spot. So what the 3-day balance is, the longs who had gotten on the 26th of July when the series started were booking profit, and they booking profit was getting that POC here at 24,990. We have the 3-day POC of Nifty futures from 28th to 31st July at 24,990. So we could clearly see that the buyers who had come in on 26 were booking profit, and hence we got that POC to shift higher. And then we'll shift our focus now to the 1st of August, when we opened with a gap up. We made new all-time highs come in. The cot also was green, but what happened was these greens were not able to sustain or make new highs. On the upside, when we made those new all-time highs, we can see zeros on the buy side. So when we are seeing this is not giving us confidence to hold longs. And you can see in the B period, the auction broke below VWAP and remained below VWAP. Since then, it could not get back above VWAP at all. So this was very clearly telling that whatever buying was happening in the morning was not able to sustain the responsive selling which was coming in. And once they remained below VWAP, even the longs who had come in the morning were forced to cover. So we went on to make lower lows, keep extending lower, and we took support right at that 24990 POC level, which I was mentioning, which was the 3-day composite POC. We have this white bold line also here, which gives you that DPOC level, and we held that. So that was showing us that some demand is coming back in this zone, and we also got that some responsive buying pattern in the order flow chart. We also saw the cot turning green in the K period, and we were looking for a uh, follow up by the buyers after this RB bar. But what happened in the next two bars is the bounce which we got to VWAP on that day. We saw some big selling coming in. We saw the cot turning big, minus 10,000 red and then minus 8,000 red. So this was very clearly telling us that the A period selling tail is holding, and no point in the day we were able to get back above VWAP. So it was very clear that the sellers were holding the auction on this day, and they are ready to push the market lower. So this was what was the scene on Thursday close, and this is where in the room also we were all discussing, and Shai had very specifically mentioned, he put it out on Twitter also, that we are looking for a gap down. because it was very clear that the sellers are in complete control and the buyers are not having any say in the auction. So what we did the next day was we opened with a big gap down, and the gap down did not see shorts covering. Although the shorts would have booked profit, the gap down showed us more reds coming in. So you can see the cot continue to be minus 21,000 in the A period. So it was very clearly telling us that this imbalance which has started, the IPM which has started, is not a small one and it can continue on a larger move. So here we take this POC of the A period as our reference, and 24850 we see what the order flow is doing in case of a bounce at that level. Although we got this RB plus IB on the 30 minutes on Friday, this IB came in as C side, and the C side is something which we do not trust. So we were a little skeptical and we wanted a range extension above these highs of A, which did not happen. And what we were doing was we are stalling the market up in the A period. So they were not letting the auction to get past here. You can see again how big some big reds were here, and again how we have a trifecta of reds, 1043 sellers, 788 sellers, 447 seller, and then here 1187 seller. So we could see some big numbers on the sell side, and even the cot was continuously on the red. So it was very clear that the auction is just giving us a bounce, and the main trend is very much to the downside. So that day also we were looking for taking uh, put longs and accordingly take trades. And what we did was after this coiling till the J period, we saw some fresh sellers coming in the K period. You can see this seller who has come in here. So this is a LLT, large lot trader. So when you have such big players getting into the market, it is very clear that they will want to move the market in their direction. And what will be our reference be on the other upside? The reference would have been VWAP or an earlier POC before this big seller came in. So we could see and we were closing below the value of the day. So even here the cot was completely red when we closed on Friday. So it was very clear that the shorts are carrying over. The IPM which has started on Thursday is going to continue, and this is what happened. And we opened with a huge gap down today. And when we open with a gap down, generally we see bunch of them together, 10,000 cot that but today's gap down was incredible in the sense that the reds continued to keep coming in. We saw, and in fact they continue to keep growing. You can see 5,400, then you can see 3,000. These were not simple numbers, and here you can see bunch of them together, 10,000 cot. But the traded cot was minus 61,000. So this is huge. In any aspect this is huge, and we were very clear that the market is not going to get any kind of an upside here. So we have the rules very well specified. We look for a range extension to the upside, and we look at VWAP. So we did get back above VWAP in the B period, where it looked as if it in the previous day's A period profile. This POC of 24370 was not allowing to the auction to pass. It was again getting some big sellers coming back in this level. And here we got this 4173 big red. So again the cot was red, and we again after the bounce we closed around the VWAP. And then once we broke VWAP, it was very clear that we are looking at more downside. Although this IS has come in as C side, and we don't give C side that much of we don't look at C side with that much of trust. But the reds here was huge. You can see 4349, 4093. So and the getting more red. So it was very clear that this is being the selling is getting more and more heavier. And then we went on to make that range extension in the D, which was giving us more confirmation that we need to remain with a downside bias. And we went on to make a huge drop lower to, so when we did this low, it is almost like we have completed the 3 IB objective of the day. So when we do that in such a short period of time, it is telling us that for the day, the uh, move could be over. And here in this bar, we could see some big greens, big LLTs on the green side also, which was nothing but short covering. We can see this 7279 green over here, but this is nothing but short covering because it is only giving us a responsive buying pattern. And then on the cot, we are not seeing any green cot as yet. Even the cot of this 30-minute bar, in spite of having these big greens, is red, minus 5000 red. So what we did then was we consolidated and we made a bounce trade POC. This was our scene of crime, 24190. So right there, when we left this pullback high in the 145 bar, and we saw zeros on the buy side and RS at VWAP, it was very clear that now the auction can go on to test the lower reference, and we are looking for a test of this particular point of 24022. But though it did give that move lower, but it did not quite hit this POC, but could only manage a low of 24042. And then on any bounce which it got, it was getting sellers coming back into this auction. You can see how at VWAP we have this bar. So what is happening now is at higher levels the sellers are persisting and they are adding, and at lower levels we are seeing partial profit booking by the buyers. So which is the reason we have this big 5400 green, we have this 4200 green. So these are not initiative buyers who are coming in, but these are only responsive, this is only responsive business, which is what the sellers are booking profit. If these were initiative buyers, what they would do is they would take the auction above VWAP and then get one more IB at VWAP here. Just the way we got this IS at VWAP on the downside, to get into to change the bias from short to long, we would need IB bars at VWAP. So till then, this auction is definitely looking for more downside. As on a daily basis, we are still forming lower value with gaps. So we take each day's reference. For example, today's VWAP will be important, and we have seen some good sell side volumes coming at VWAP. So till the time we do not take off this VWAP, tomorrow at open again we will look at cot, and we will look if the sellers are adding, and then accordingly take in fresh positions. So this is how the Nifty order flow chart is looking. And even at the end of the day, we have seen some cot covering, but these are still responsive signals. So this is how we look to trade the order flow. We also look at the 10 bar cot of 30 minutes and 3 minutes, which helps us to be in sync with what the market profile is telling us. So when we are getting a sell side structure in market profile, we are also getting confirmation in the 10 bar cot of 3 minutes and 30 minutes that it is red, and it is big red at that. So in fact today morning, once the IB was getting over, the cot in Nifty futures was minus 1,12,000. So that is huge. That kind of cot was last seen I think on budget day. So from there we also saw how much of a fall it gave us. Not the budget day, sorry, it was the election results day. So from there we got a big fall, and same thing happened today. So we'll need to see again tomorrow when market opens what kind of order flow signals we get and what the cot is showing us, and then accordingly we can look for this downside to continue. So a quick look now at the bank nifty. I will just have a snapshot of what Bank Nifty did on the monthly time frame in July, and you can see see how we have this small tail at the top. This was when Bank Nifty started in a bullish manner. The July month opened in a bullish manner when we opened above the value of previous month. Support right at this value area high of June. So this was telling us that there is some demand which is coming in, and from here we went on to make new all-time highs. But here we have left this responsive selling tail. And if the same thing we see on a daily time frame, we can see how Bank Nifty had given us that A period selling tail on 4th of July itself. What Nifty gave us on the 1st of August, we had that A period selling tail at new all time highs. We call this kind of selling tail a special case because it has come in a zone where it has not been uh, visited anytime. So this was a new zone for Bank Nifty spot, and what it did was it left an A period selling tail which held on. So this profile on 4th of July was a very clear indication that the upside in Bank Nifty is done. And this was the time when the initiative seller had started to come in Bank Nifty futures. So from there on, you can see how we have been probing lower in Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty has been weaker of the two indices. Even when we were making new all-time highs in Nifty, Bank Nifty was probing lower. And what it did on the monthly chart, had formed a kind of a balanced value area zone because the time from 5th of July to almost 23rd of July till the budget day, it was in a range. So which explain this balance on the monthly time frame. And what it did on the budget day is it gave a move away from that balance. And although it made an attempt to get back into that balance last week on Monday, it was met with rejection. So this is that 12-day balance which I was talking about. 5th of July, 2nd of July on the budget day, we moved away. That was a new IPM in Bank Nifty. We moved away from this balance and we went on to make these lows of 5438. And here we left this A period buying tail, which was telling us that that IPM which started on the budget day was done. And from here, this bounce was expected. It also came right at a previous A period buying tail, was not a surprise at all because buyers tend to defend their zones and sellers tend to come back at their levels which they have marked. So unless one of them is taken out and then negated, we keep looking for such information. So here again, once the month was done, we got this rejection from this POC, and you can see how we have started. In August, we have got this A period buying tail, which was leaving this VPOC of this monthly profile. So in all probability, the target would be the lower VPOC on the monthly profile, which was it 49947 of June, and which is where we tagged and we have formed a balance today. So this is how we also arrive at targets on the higher time frame, on the weekly and on the daily time frame. So at any point of time, we are leaving a VPOC on one time frame. We will look for the VPOCs in the other direction which have not been tagged. So in this case, if we are looking for the Bank Nifty to continue lower, what are the objectives? The objectives would be this rollover point of 49047. This was an important reference when we close the month of May. So this will be one target in Bank Nifty, and I'm talking only about the monthly time frame. And then we have this VWAP from the month, which is at 48367, and then lower down we have this another monthly POC of 47720. This is from May. So these will be the objectives in Bank Nifty if we continue to break lower. And how do we identify whether the trend is continuing? Tomorrow we will have to form value below this value of today. And then if we are getting a rejection from this POC of today, it gives us all the more confirmation that we are headed for lower lows now. If we leave an AP rate selling tail tomorrow at open at this 50,092 level and form value below this monthly POC, then it is telling us that the auction is headed for lower levels. So this is how we had the Bank Nifty spot on chart. I'll come to the Nifty spot targets in a bit. Let us have a look at what the Bank Nifty order flow chart was showing us on 1st and 2nd August. So although the Bank Nifty did not show us as much aggressive selling as Nifty did, but it was not surprising because the Bank Nifty had started its IPM way back on 4th of July. So from that point onwards, we have seen lot of big selling coming in Bank Nifty futures also. And whenever we have got these bounces, a previous supply zone has always stalled that up move and then given us new lows. So that is what happened on the budget day. We made those new lows. On the budget day when we started that new move lower, we went on to tag that 5438 low, and June series VWAP was one important reference where we took support on that day. From there, we gave a bounce which got stalled right at that POC of the July monthly profile. And from there, again, we gave a fresh IPM lower from this 1st of August. And then here we have formed new lows today, tagging that monthly VPOC of 49947. So here you can see on 1st of August, when we opened higher in Bank Nifty, we have got an RS bar and we have got reds at the top. So, and immediately the next bar, we have broken below the VWAP and we remained below VWAP all day. So this tells us that the seller is in complete control and these highs which it has made has got rejected. And it went on to, and in fact, this was a start of the new series in Bank Nifty, both calendar month wise plus series futures wise, because 31st of July was the closing of July futures. So when we get this kind of a start when a new series is beginning, it is telling you that this is going to be dominated by sellers because it is left an RS, it is broken below VWAP, and then it remained below VWAP all day. So that is the reason we give lot of importance to these kind of days where we can gather what we can what move we can get for not just that day but also for the remaining of the week or the remaining of the series. So here we can see how this day ended with lows of 51642, and then it gave a feeble bounce into the close. But again, you can see in this bounce, the sellers were adding. At no point of time we were getting big green caught on 30 minutes, and that was our reason. That was the reason our bias was totally to the downside in both Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. And when we but in Bank Nifty, the scene was little different when we opened with that gap down on Friday. What we saw here was the sell side volumes were coming down, and this happened because this 51250 was one important reference. It was the trend day VWAP of one previous daily session, and that was a day where the fresh IPM had started. So that is the reason when this held, it was telling us that the buyers from that zone are coming back to defend this. So here we can see immediately when we got back above VWAP in the BP rate, we were no longer bearish or looking for shorts unless we saw opposite signal below VWAP. So Bank Nifty went on to give this bounce, and you can see where it stalled. It stalled right just below the POC of that closing bar of Thursday, and where we got RS. we got this big seller here, RS in the 1145 bar, and then again in the 115 bar, we formed a similar kind of a high, and we got sellers again in that same level. So from there, you can see how the cot was trying to add up, and then finally we have seen that the sellers are now have now taken the control back. Not that buyers had any control on this, but whatever attempt was being made by these buyers was not was getting overcome by the sellers. That is a very clear signal that the buyers have not done a good job, and that the sellers who had entered at the first day of the series are now managing to hold the auction. So as I mentioned, the VWAP of the day would be our reference when we carry forward any trades. So even if we are looking at holding a short in this bank nifty trade, we would have taken this VWAP as a reference for the next open. So but what happened today was we opened with a big gap down, and like in similar to what we saw on Friday, and unlike what we saw in Nifty, Bank Nifty had little more of green caught. So it was telling us that the sellers are booking profit, and the selling has not been as huge as what we were seeing in Nifty. So although the trend was clearly down in this, but the caught was more subdued in this, and although we kept making lower lows in all, but Bank Nifty was nowhere close to what Nifty was showing us. What Nifty was showing us, the caught, which whatever caught was happening was marginal, and at no point of time we even got that confirmation that we need to go long in this auction. Whatever greens we were getting, it was very clear that they were more of responsive activity, and we never were able to get back above VWAP. So same like Nifty, what Bank Nifty did was in this 1115 low, it not only tagged that monthly POC, but completed almost 3 IB of the day's objective. Not 3 IB, but it doubled the IB range. And we had a big IB range of 500 points. So when you are already making a 1000 point range, then there are more chances that the market will remain in that range for the rest of the day. And that is what we got to see. We made a slow move back to VWAP, but similar to what we were doing in the B period high and the C period high were holding that VWAP level, and we were getting a cluster of red at the VWAP zone. So same thing happened here when we made those attempt to get above VWAP. We got an RS bar. All these bars were near the VWAP, and then finally when we got above VWAP, we got an RS, and then we have got an IS into the close. So very clearly, again with this VWAP as our reference, our objective for tomorrow in Bank Nifty also would be to the downside. And we have this IS bar. So this POC of 54441, which was the previous lows in Bank Nifty spot, would be our reference on the upside. So this is how we are placed here. And in Nifty, what we have done is we have from 24,460, which was the uh, rollover point when the August series started, we have gone on to make a high of 25,132, and then now from that 24,460 we have gone on to make a low of 23,912. So in any bounce, whenever we make an attempt to get back to the 24,460 level, we will have to watch what the cot is showing, what the order flow signals are showing us, because there is very good chance that the sellers may come back in big numbers at that level. So we will have to have a special lookout for supply at that whenever we get that bounce. So this is how we are placed in both Nifty futures and Bank Nifty futures. Bank Nifty wise, the rollover point was at 51,845, and in spot you can see right at that level we had left a initiative selling tail on the 1st of August. So we had merged those profiles. So you can see how the calendar month in spot also is started with the A period selling tail. What information this does not tells us is that rollover point of August 51845 is being rejected with an A period selling tail. So that is why it is very clear that the PLR in Bank Nifty also will be to the downside unless we get back above this 51845 level. And on the downside, the references we have in Nifty spot, if we look at the monthly profile, would be this monthly VPOC from June, which is a 23535. So this will be one objective in Nifty. And before that, where we have stopped today is right at this extension handle of 23887. You can see this monthly profile chart where we have just got this RTPO going higher. And this is, you can say this was a spike close on the month of June. So 23887 is that reference in spot, which is where we stalled today. 23892, I think, was the low we made in spot. So if this gets broken, this will be our next reference. 23750 another extension handle. And then we have this monthly POC of 23535 along with this VWAP as our lower objectives for Nifty spot. Bank Nifty spot, I have already spoken about it. So we are aware about these objectives in Bank Nifty. So that is it from my side for now, guys. I will now quickly take a pause and open the floor for any queries you guys have before we can wind up for the day. Downside targets already spoken about. Manish is asking what is caught overall end of day. Caught is still on the red side in both Nifty as well as Bank Nifty. Although it has come down, the 10 bar Nifty is minus 32,000 and Bank Nifty, I think it was slightly green. So we green. So 2,600 is not a big number on the 10 bar caught. So this is not, because of this number, we will not look to take any long positions, but we will wait for fresh information in tomorrow's order flow chart. And then accordingly, look to take trades mostly on the shorter side. So that's it for today, guys. Any more queries, you can just shoot them before we can wind up and prepare ourselves for tomorrow's session, and which also is expected to be a uh, big one. And so what I would want to close out today's session is by watching the order flow, we can cover up what all is happening in the other markets. For example, whatever the reason for today's fall or whatever the reason for today's liquidation was, it was very clearly seen in the order flow charts of today in the instrument which we were trading. So that is how we look for live information, and this data comes live to us, and we keep discussing about this in the VTrender mentoring room, where all of us sit together in the virtual trading room and watch these charts and have these discussions and take trades. So in case you guys are interested in getting a hang of this process, following the setup which we have at VTrender, do make it a point to look what we have in the VMR program, which is available on the website, and then see if you would want to join us and see how it goes. Make your trading journey much more profitable. So at VMR, you have free access to all these premium charts, the order flow charts, the option suite, the market profile charts, and we have handholding in the room where we are a group of seasoned traders who have been trading these markets from a long time. So we have seen situations, we have seen times of COVID, we have seen times of the lower circuit, and then we have gone through all these things with the order flow at our side, and now the order flow charts have just got more better and better, so it is even more easier for us to manage. So any queries you have, you can DM me on Twitter. My ID, the X ID is at Uttam Goel. I would be happy to answer your queries, and you can also mail us at support@vtrender.com. And we have a lot of information available on the website as well in the forum section, so you can go through them before you want to take that one step higher and get into the virtual trading room, where you also get access to the trading library, which has 15 videos which explain each and every setup which we have and which follow in live markets to take the trades. So that is it for today, guys. Thanks for joining in, and hope this was a good, helpful session for all of you. And looking forward to connect with all of you again very soon. Thank you for joining in. Signing off for now.